to Let's Talk Real Estate Investing. In this podcast, I bring you insights, experiences, and lessons from real estate investing professionals at all stages of their journey, along with industry experts who provide essential services to you to help you to succeed. Our goal is to empower you with the knowledge and strategies needed to build a personalized real estate investing plan that aligns with your unique goals. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It helps me to continue to share valuable content with you. My name is Debbie Balfour, and I'm a real estate investing professional and a real estate investing success coach. Real estate investing isn't a one-size-fits-all. Your strategy should be unique as you are. I am so excited to welcome my next guest on this podcast, on the Let's Talk Real Estate Investing podcast, Jozsef Petrozci. He's an experienced real estate professional, a property manager based in the Ottawa area. He's known for his hands-on approach and deep understanding of the housing market. Originally from Hungary, Jozsef built his career from ground up after moving to Canada, combining his strong technical knowledge with a genuine commitment to service and community. Passionate about continuous learning and personal growth, he encourages and he enjoys mentoring others in real estate, exploring new business ideas, and contributing to the Ottawa's growing investor community. Outside of work, Jozsef values time with family, travel, and experiences that challenge him to grow both personally and professionally. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to you, Jozsef, to introduce yourself a little bit more. Tell us a bit about your journey in real estate.
Thank you, Debbie, for the kind words, and greetings to everybody from Ottawa. Yes, I'm based in Ottawa. My experience with real estate is a little bit more than just Ottawa or Canada. As you mentioned, I am originally from Hungary, where I had my first experience with investment properties in my early 20s, which was not today and not yesterday, quite some time ago. So I went through on some, bad experiences that people didn't pay their rent and get some unexpected expenses. I've been on that part of the equation as well, and I make sure, investors starting out, they're not going to go through the same challenges and same uphill battles when I went through. And also I lived in many different countries in my early 20s, like Germany, Switzerland, Ireland, worked on cruise ships many times too. And I've been a tenant in different countries. So I always know how difficult it is to rent something when you are a foreigner or a new immigrant coming into a country. So having these experiences on both sides of being a landlord or being a tenant, prepared me with a clear vision of what I wanted to create in my company. There is a marketplace where tenants and owners, they exactly know what they're expecting. And we are, acting as a leveling field and connecting good tenants with good owners, or to make sure it's a win-win scenario for everybody. So that's my mission in real estate, to make sure everybody understand the rules, tenants understanding what is being a tenant and what is expected of them, and same thing for the landlord. There's different landlords with different experiences, right? Sometimes you need to coach them, sometimes you need to teach them certain things, how to manage their properties and make sure everything is going well and there, and then they can make their money, collect their rents, and make investments on success. So that's my goal, to educate both end of my clients, tenants and landlords.
What would you say sets you apart? What do you do differently from other property management companies?
I mean, we definitely have an eye for detail, right? We work a lot on diplomatic market. It's one of our main avenue here in Ottawa. We're working with incoming and outgoing diplomats. We have access to great properties in the best part of town, close to downtown, close to diplomatic missions, and we have experience handling high-profile clientels on both end of the deals and representing and letting rented places out to really high-end tenants. That's our specialty as well. Been mentioning attention to details and being excellence focused and oriented company. We really we are in a position where we can pick and choose who we work with. We only work with properties what we really like, and we would be living there. So I'm coming from the hospitality background, or whether if you don't eat something or you don't drink something, you don't serve to other people. So I have the same philosophy here. If I won't be living at the place, I won't be renting it out. So I keep high standards in that regards.
So what would the real estate investor get from you? How can you support that real estate investor?
We have the market insight in Ottawa since the company is around for 20 years. Been renting all around, and we have a great experience and great connections with housing officers for many different embassies and high commissions here in Ottawa. They are moving a high number of officers year in and year out. So that's definitely a extra for us. We have access to those officers, and that network is quite substantial. I mean, we work with over 10, 15 diplomatic missions at any given time in our portfolio. So we can always find great tenants coming in from different nations. And those leases are always backed by the embassy, and these diplomatic leases, that's really safe and really good business for the investors who are working with us. Of course, we always can give them good advice how to renovate places, what locations they are. I mean, in real estate, you cannot change. One thing is the location, everything else is pretty much interchangeable. You can change your kitchens, your bathrooms, but one thing, location is always stays the same. So really
yes, you can't move it.
Yeah, you can move it, right? It's a hard asset, and it's a fixed asset, so it's stays in place. So if you are in a D area, it's going to be hard to get A rents or B rents. So you always need to make sure where we start from, right? That's how we built our way of managing our properties and our portfolios, which is called asset, ASSET, right? And first analyze the property, and let's understand where we are and what we do, and solve problems for our tenants and for our owners and so forth and so on.
What would you say are your top tips for getting great tenants?
I mean, the quality of the apartment that you're putting out there, the quality of the product is going to be definitely determining the quality of the tenants you can get in there, right? And then also another thing is looking for longevity, right? When you're creating spaces, you need to create spaces where people can be feeling comfortable for years to come, right? It's not only for, just give you an example, lots of people doing duplexes or triplexes, and they're not going to do the proper insulation for soundproofing and things like that, right? After a, long winter, six months in the house, people getting lots of disturbance with noise, it's very likely they're going to be moving in the summertime, because they're not comfortable in the wintertime in the house or in the units what they are renting. So quality of units is really important. I'm a big believer in PBR, purpose-built rentals, where everything is done up to code and properly insulated, and everybody has their own piece. So that's what I would recommend to everybody, to do everything in their power to make sure the places what they're creating are comfortable and safe and sound for the tenants to income, because once the place is tenanted, the most expensive cost is always the turnaround cost. If you need to keep changing tenants every year or every 2 years, if you run them out and you change tenants 4 times or 5 times or maybe 8 times in 10 years, that's going to be super expensive. If versus you change tenants 2 times or 3 times in 10 years or 12 years, or somebody staying 10, 15 years in the property. So those are the things that longevity and long-term vision comes in. Lots of people, they're starting investments, everybody is just stuck on cash flow. Okay, I want to make cash flow. But what's going to happen with that place in 5 years, and what's going to happen with the place in 10 years, right? What you need to replace in 10 years, you need to put a new furnace, and you need to put a new roof, new windows, new doors, hot water tanks, dishwasher, stove, oven. Everything is getting used in a property, so you really need to plan it smart. And if you're turning too many tenants over, it's more wear and tear on a property. You need to paint more, there's more maintenance. So really need to have a good plan for, I would say, at least for 10 years for the property when you putting it to that.
Right. Yeah. It's so true. Trying to cheap out, like you were mentioning with insulation. So if you're converting or doing or building, really consider that insulation. Spend a little bit more to insulate it properly, because then you lose out in the long run, like you mentioned, with tenant complaints, with tenant turnover, and then if you're having lots of vacancies, I guess what you can command for that unit will be less.
Absolutely. If the unit is back on the market year in and year out, right? Tenants, they will know, and the history shows that the unit is available every single year. And then, you can tell to people everything is fine. People just move because of school or whatsoever. But when winter comes around and they hear the neighbor day in and day out, they will find out what's happening. and then they will be living, right? So yeah, build the places the right way and have longevity in mind and long-term vision. I think that's really important for investors, long-term vision.
For your specific clients, since you have a lot of diplomatic clients coming in looking for, for accommodation, for a place to rent, what are they asking for? What are the things they're specifically looking for in a rental property?
It's depend on which diplomatic mission you're working with. Most diplomatic missions, they have time requirements and distance requirements from their head office in Ottawa. So that's mean in certain positions, people need to be able to in the office, let's say in 15 minutes, and speak on a secured line or do a secured video call. So those are requirements here in Ottawa, and then they cannot be living more than 15 minutes away from that head office. That's one of the requirements. Or once we work with one of the embassies, they have their own checklist, and they're going to send their own inspectors, and the windows cannot be opening more than 6 inches. Everything's need to be checked here and there. It has to be a double set of smoke detectors and 10-pound fire extinguisher in a kitchen. So the list goes on and on. It's really depend on the tenants itself. I mean, the quality of the accommodations here in Canada, they are really, really good, right? So it's not really a special request what we cannot fulfill. Many of them, they cannot have pool, things like that. That really comes and goes in different directions all around. Quality of the accommodation and safety, right? That's number one, and location, I would say that's top of the mind for everybody.
Sounds like a home office, like with a closed door, is key.
The home office, yes, but as I said, with back to work and with secure lines for diplomatic missions, they not really tend to work from home. Okay. So they are not really in a working from home environment. I
thought when you said secured lines, that would be
secure lines in their head office, right? Okay. So they need to go to the office and talk on a secured line from there.
Right.
That's a secure line, yeah. But working from home, it's really getting faded out in Ottawa too. And the government is getting back everybody 5 days a week in January, and the city of Ottawa too. So life is getting different. Traffic is getting heavier here in Ottawa. So we are back to pretty much pre-COVID levels.
So how do you balance the business side of property management with maintaining strong, trust-based relationships with your clients and your tenants?
We always deliver on what we agreed upon, right? And we try to not over-promise and under-deliver, right? We always try to over-deliver on our promises. And we have a good network of suppliers. And as we've known for 20 years, we have seen quite a bit challenges and repairs and renovations, and every different possible way in any of the buildings, being a roof, being a garden, or building a fence, foundations, all those kind of things. We have seen it, right? So we get a quite good eye for those details, and that's really the network behind us, what is helping us to be better than anybody else, right? Changing a dishwasher for us is just another task. It's going pretty simple. We're not sweating over it. I bought 2 appliances today. I bought 5 last week, and everything's just going as automated. We're not sweating as big or small things. Any given time, we have probably around 20 suppliers working on our properties for different tasks. Right now is season for furnace maintenance, and probably 5 of those happening every single day. Bills coming in. Some of them are broken, and last week we changed 1 furnace. Everything is going very quick for us, right? We don't need to wait for any solutions. That's the good thing. We can provide a really quick service, which is good for the tenants, because even if you have a problem, it's solved quickly. And it's good for the owner, because the tenant is not going to get affected, and there is no compensations to be paid. They're not going to be living, because they're handled swiftly.
So systems, processes, and a great team.
Absolutely. Systems, processes, and vendors.
That's the key to it's those systems and processes, and behind them it's that great team that's going to support those systems and processes. So what's next for you, Jozsef? What goals or projects are you most excited pursuing in the next coming years?
I'm very excited about AI, what AI has to offer. So I'm working on automation to even make things more smoother and more process and automation oriented. That's number one project right now. And number two project, I want to double up my door count here in Ottawa for the next 2 years again. So that's number two. And building capacity, adjusting my company operations to today's time and age. That's really what's happening right now in my everyday. Probably it's 80% of my day and time. It's around that project to get ready for the next year and for the next couple of years, how we can grow and how we can get, maybe popping up in different places in Alberta, and Edmonton, Calgary, and Toronto, where we can provide our services and build caterings and duplicate the offices what we're having here in Ottawa. So that will be for the next 5 years.
We're looking at Alberta next to expand.
Alberta, Toronto. I have a family in Toronto. We'll check out there. We started our marketing right now, an online presence to be rearranged and checked out. We're working on that one as we speak. So there's winter time for us in property management is usually a little bit less leasing activity. Still lots of happening in the business side of things, but our main season is usually from July to September. July, August, September, that's our main season. Now I would say we are in shoulder season, and now when we start to plan for the next spring coming up, April, the next big moving season, April, May, June, July for next year to getting ready. So that's what we do. That's what I do right now. My team is working on everyday stuff, finishing up inspection season, repairs, and so on. And I'm getting ready for next year, years to come.
So what causes that busier season in April to September?
I mean, it's weather related, right? Nobody likes to move in the snow and ice and rain. So that's why here in Ontario, generally speaking, moving season starts in April, and then, it's picking up July and August usually is the peak, followed by September, and then is going down into shoulder season in October, November. December and January usually is relatively quiet or quieter than any other months, and then April comes around, sun shines, and people start to move. So it's just like a standard real estate sequence, right here in the colder part of
Any possibility of you looking at the BC area for property management? We desperately need good property managers here.
I hear that a lot. So I hear that a lot, that everybody is looking for good property managers. The problem with property management, right? You never know how good is your property management until you're gonna have a problem. Right, and then usually it's too late to find out you don't have a good one when you have a problem. Oh, it's lots of over-promise, under-deliver. Unfortunately, I wish I can manage everybody's properties and take care of everybody, but step by step, right? It's a trust-based business. I always say a good property manager is like a private banker. Because we pretty much know everything about the client and the properties and what's happening. So it's really trust-based. Working with a couple of bigger clients and bigger investors. I'm part of also an investor group. And if I find a good partnership, where I can duplicate my vision, what I have here in Ottawa, and the way I run things, then yes, I'm open to explore opportunities in BC. If somebody is willing to work or somebody is thinking about it, give me a call.
I think the issue here with BC is you have to be certified.
Yes, I mean, every market is different. Here in Ontario, we don't need to be certified. You don't need to be a realtor. You don't need to be a real estate agent or a broker or whatsoever. I know Alberta is different too. Alberta, you need to be certified as well for property management. So, local regulations are different, which is just another equation what you need to work into your business plan. And I heard in Alberta is quite expensive, the certification as well, keeping your credibility every single year. You have to go for courses and so on. So every market is different.
So from an investment perspective, what would you be thinking about for your future plans from real estate investing?
For real estate investing, Ottawa has just changed their bylaw to be able to build 12 plexes on every lot. Can accommodate the size. Until now it was 10 without site plan approval. Now it's up to 12. So that's an exciting news. Teaming up with a realtor to find development sites where we can build 12 plexes in Ottawa. So that's in the works. I mean, right now, real estate market is a little bit in a fluke, less immigration and a little bit more vacancy. But the market is going to be balancing itself out by 2027, 2028, when those new units, if you start to work on a project today, a new unit's not going to be ready before 27, 28, the market will be prime again. Because the last few years here in Ontario, the building permits went down significantly. So there is going to be a big gap for supply and demand, which going to come in 27 and 28. So I see definitely an opportunity here. Edmonton is being built quite heavily, and Calgary is being built quite heavily in the last couple of years, and everybody from Ontario seems like run away to Alberta. I guess that's where everybody goes, right? And then real estate investors goes in herds, right? Somebody goes, oh, let's go to Alberta, it looks good now. And I was just talking to property managers from Edmonton a few weeks ago, and they said, we cannot rent those places. How many is getting built? Because I asked them, I said, you have some issues renting out the basements. He said, no, the basements are going because they're cheap. They have problem with the 3-bedroom units. Nobody wants them. You have to always look at the fundamentals. And here in Ottawa, it's always been a steady eddy market. We're not going too much up, too much down. Yes, of course, we have seasonal ups and downs and market challenges here and there, but we are not as much affected like Alberta or Toronto, right? Because the federal government being one of the biggest employer here in the national region, and we have a lot of tech in a capital region. So our tenant base is very stable. I mean, however, mind you, right now, all the constructions happening in Ottawa is going to be 62% rental. So there is definitely a shift from home ownership to rental for life. So it seems like until now we were building a owner's nation, and now we are building a renters nations. So that's why, again, the quality of the accommodation you are building is going to be very, very important.
People are going to be staying longer too.
People will be staying longer, and you need to provide accommodation according to that, where people say, okay, fine, I can be here for 5 or 10 years. I mean, just give you an example in Germany, right? People are going to work close where they can rent place. Here in Ottawa or here in Canada is opposite. Work, people are going to leave whatever they can work. Once the market supply of good apartments is going to be limited, then people are going to be valuing more to have a great place to live than to just move every year or 2 years, because somewhere else are going to make a couple of $1,000s more per year, right? So it's definitely going to be changing the mindset of renters as well. Once we are turning into a renter nation, that's a market opportunity for sure to have quality apartments where you can house people forever. And another thing too, being a real estate is being a hard asset, right? Doesn't matter if it's going to be digital currency, it's going to be Canadian dollar, it's going to be any dollar or any currency, how is it going to be called? And people are always going to pay rent in some shape, way, or form, right? So you can buy Bitcoin or you can buy any stock, right? The value can go down to zero. I mean, here in real estate, worst case is going to happen. People are going to pay you in digital dollars, or they're going to pay you in Bitcoin or whatever it's going to be called, right?
But I still have to pay.
Still have to pay, right? I mean, I just always give an example to somebody in Great Depression in Hungary, and in the late 1920s, it's people were pitchforking money on the street because it was so worthless, and the bills were like 1 trillion, right, per bill. What happened? Real estate stayed. All those buildings, they were there at the time. They're still there today. They're just people paying rent in different currency, right? That's it. That's all. So real estate is always the way to go. For sure, you don't want to put everything in real estate, but when making smart decision and diversification in your portfolio, real estate will need to be definitely calculated for everybody for certain percentage, in my opinion.
So, for a real estate investor looking to invest in Ottawa, what would they put into their pro forma around vacancy rates? Like what are the vacancy rates like in Ottawa?
I mean, vacancy rates are around between 3 and 4 right now in a standard situation. Properties are affected more with vacancy. Those ones are having quite over 10% luxury portfolios. Luxury properties, where you're asking for 2,000 plus for a 1-bedroom apartment and 3,000 for 2 bedrooms. But even those prices now came down. In Ottawa, you can have a 2,300 for a brand new 2-bedroom apartment that used to be 3,000 or 2,900 a couple of years ago. So the market is really getting saturated in a certain part, especially around the LRT, downtown Westboro area. Is lots of towers get completed in the last couple of years and still getting completed. So the market is definitely changing. So you need to know the local markets and the local demographics and the drivers, right? That's number one thing. That's our advantage here from Ottawa, as we know exactly how the market is. We know where the next tower is going to go, what is planned over there. We can figure that part out, right? So we're not going to compete in an area where already hundreds of thousands of units going into, right? You're always looking for up and coming areas. Then LRT 2 lines were just open in Ottawa recently, so Ottawa South part is definitely prime for developments. East is opening right now, so those are good opportunities to get something built relatively close to LRT, where you don't need to worry about much parking, and there's still lots of land left on those parts.
What type of property, is in demand for rental right now?
What we see from our portfolio, the 3 and 4 bedrooms is definitely the fastest category to go. So any of the bigger houses or bigger units we have, they're gonna go relatively in shorter period of time. 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom at the moment, we have a quite high inventory. Definitely a 3 bedroom spectrum, what is right now most needed.
Okay, so bigger homes. I thought you were going to say the opposite.
Yeah, again, families, as we building renter nations, families need places to stay. By Canadian standards, a family of 4 cannot really stay in a 2-bedroom apartment for too long, because winter is 6 months here. So what the kids gonna do if you have only just a little living room, like 1,100 square feet for 4 people, or 800 square feet, new ones, 700 square feet for 2-bedroom? It's really hard, right? A family of 3 you can manage, right? But it's not ideal. Definitely 3-bedroom for us. What we see, 3 bedrooms are flying off the shelf. 4 bedrooms are going quite fast as well. Sometimes we get requests for 5 bedrooms, but I say 3 bedrooms is really the 3-bedroom 2-bath. That's the sweet spot. Of course, It's not the cheapest to develop. At the very moment, 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom is it's an abundance here in Ottawa right now.
So that's some great information, Joseph, for real estate investors out there. So if you're looking to invest in Ottawa, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths sounds like the ideal. Yeah.
I went to see a couple of development sites recently, and everybody who doing smart decisions, smart investments, they're going into a 3 and 4 bedroom townhomes side by sides, front and backs, and then getting a couple of studios and whatever extra money you're making on a 3 and 4 bedrooms in Ottawa downtown. 3 and 4 bedrooms, you can rent them out for like 3,800, right? If you make a decent one. So there is a pretty good money to rent them out, and then the basement you can still rent it for 1,500. So that's still pretty good income. Even if you get a good basement, maybe if you put a 2-bedroom basement, even you can get 2,000 for a 2-bedroom basement in a good part of town. So that's where the numbers comes in. Of course, you can work with CMHC. The massage your numbers a little bit better with a 50 years amortization. Of course, 5% is so always people say it's eligible for 5% finance, which is a fine line. I always say, don't over leverage yourself, because if the market changes up and down, you can lose your shirt. So, put 20%, 25% down, be more conservative, get a little bit more capital from your investors, but don't over leverage, right? Even with Ottawa being steady, be on a safe side and don't be greedy.
Yeah, because 5% down means larger mortgage payments. It affects your cash flow, definitely.
Absolutely. Another thing too, right? With the larger payments every month, you won't be able to build your maintenance budget, right?
Exactly. You won't have a reserve.
Yeah. And then, every building life expected for 27 and a half years. And real estate investors who are in a business, they know, every bathroom is going to go in 20 years, or every kitchen is going to go in 20 years, right? Unless you put, something spick and span in there today, top of the line, and it's going to be okay for 30 years. That's how they do it in Germany, and that's how they do it in Switzerland. They get everything top of the line, even in rentals, and they're going to get the Villeroy Bock bathroom and sanitaries and top of the line, faucets and everything, because that place is going to be making money for 30 years, right? So then you don't need to send a plumber in, 2 years to change something, which is, you get some no-name brand in and you have a problem because the cartridge is going to be used up in 2 years.
You get what you paid for.
Absolutely, and it's coming down to the vision and longevity, long-term vision, right? I think shift in mindset and how we're looking investments is really important as we turning into renter nations. And that's what is going to be the difference maker. Who can make decisions, 30 years in advance, or who can foresee what's going to happen in 30 years. But again, location is number one. Know your location, where you're building, what you're building, what's going to happen over there. 15 years or 20 years, maybe an LRT is going to go in there, or another subdivision is going to go in there, or a hospital is going to be built over there. What is the long-term planning for that part of the city? Because that's going to build you value.
Excellent. At what point do you like real estate investors to engage you?
Always open for conversations, and happy to know what investors looking out there. Everybody has their different criteria and different set of requirements what they like to invest in. I know some people only want to invest in over 100,000 people in population, or 500,000, or 1 million, right? It really comes down on that. Some people want to be hands-on, some people don't want to be hands-on, right? It's really depend on, this conversation is always available for everybody, and we can see if we are a good match or not, right? I'm not looking to work with everybody. I'm only looking to work with the best of the best. So, that's.
So what does your ideal client look like?
My ideal client, somebody who's been around the world, right, and who knows the value of quality, right? That's number one. I mean, I'm very quality minded, and I want to make sure if I build something or put out something, rentals, it's going to be a good quality in the long term. Quality always wins, in my opinion and in my experience, every single time. Quality is the way to go. But of course, you don't want to overspend, right? There's difference between quality minded and overspending, because lots of people overspend on things what they're not supposed to, right? People buying like top of the line washers and dryers for rentals. Which, why are you gonna spend $3,000 on a washer and dryer if you can get a laundry set for $1,200? I never understand that. And that's where you need to hold your money, right? The appliances what you put in, but why you give microwave, right? Microwave, it's one of those iffy situations where it's so cheap to buy one. It's $100, or you can get $80 or $100. You can get a brand new microwave, or $115 in Costco. Everybody can afford it. But if you put one in, it's going to cost you $500. If it breaks in 2 years or 3 years, it's going to be another $500 to change it. And it won't make any change in the rental rate what you can get, right? So there's nobody gonna say, oh, I'm not gonna rent the place because there's no microwave. I'm gonna buy one, it's $100, right? So that's where you have to make a decisions. Or dishwashers, right? So, I'm gonna buy the dishwasher, the cheapest one, $425. Okay, but you're gonna change it in 3 years. It's gonna be another $500. Why don't you buy Bosch, which is gonna be there for 10 years, or some of them running for 20 years or 25 years? Like, I have friends running rentals for 20 years on the same dishwasher, Bosch, right? Yes, it's gonna cost you $800 or $900 to start up, but in the cost of the appliance in the beginning and cost of ownership is two very different things on a lifespan. And that's another thing what people need to understand. If I use an $800 dishwasher for 10 years, it's cost me $80 a month, right? But if I buy a $600 dishwasher and it breaks in 3 years, that's $200 per year, right? It's 120. It's 2.5 times, 1.5 times more what I spend on that appliance, right? And another thing too, certain brands, like, I don't want to say brands that much, but certain brands from far away, built from North America, it's very difficult to get parts. Yes. It's very expensive to get parts, right? The price looks good because you go to your dealer, we have this kind of packages on sale, buy it, right? And then Tenants calls you 2 months later, or actually not 2 months, like 1 year and 5 days after the warranty is expiring. My stove door is exploded. What happened? Nothing. We just, not even there, it's crashed. And you go online and you Google it, it's like recurring problem. Call the hotline. Sorry, your warranty is expired. Nothing you can do, and then you have to order a new one, which is like $500, half price of the stove or a range itself, and you have to wait 6 weeks, right? Yes. So we are having a situation right now. Somebody's waiting for a door because it's exploded without any input, right? Wow. So those are the little things where we can make a big difference how your rental is performing in the long term.
Sounds good. Jozsef, you mentioned that you have a free giveaway for our audience. What is it and how can they get it?
We have our special way we manage properties, the asset, right? So if somebody likes to know our philosophy, how we're doing our property management and what we base our decisions and conversations with our clients, and reach out to me on my email, which is info@ensmgmt.ca, which is just behind me e&smgmt.ca, info at, and happy to send you a copy. The link reference yourself to Let's Talk Real Estate Investing podcast. I'm happy to talk to you.
Excellent. And we'll also put your contact information in the show notes for everyone,
Perfect.
including any of your social media handles, so people can get in touch with you in different ways. Thank you so much, Jozsef. You are a wealth of information. Really excited to have you here. For those that are thinking about investing in Ottawa, do give a shout out to Jozsef and consider them. Of course, everybody they have to be the right clients for you, Jozsef, and also for the person, the real estate investor. It's important that that relationship matches. But do reach out to Jozsef. So much great moments, Jozsef, especially my perception of what would actually be in demand was totally different to what you said. So it just shows, speak to the experts who are like experiencing it right now, who are going through it. Reach out to a property manager and find out what's truly in demand at the moment, what the vacancy rates are truly like, instead of people's perception of what they are.
Absolutely. It's well said. And thank you for having me, Debbie. A pleasure to